Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Kasia Cole. She is a London based psychotherapist, academic, and the founder of Balanced Psychotherapy. Specializes in trauma, relationships, and mood disorders. And she offers group therapy, individual coaching, and access to her courses. Welcome to the show, Kasia.
Welcome. So nice to be here with you.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Kasia. And I'm
Thank
sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how one can balance their inner world, about their emotions. So we'll talk about all this. But before that, Kasia, let's understand a bit about your background, your journey, so that people know who they are listening to.
Hello everyone. I work as a psychotherapist, and basically, what I do all the time, I talk to people and advise them how to balance their mental health. Uh, Very often, we're thinking about diagnosis and almost experiencing only our what it's not right with us, what is not working. What I do in our clinic, we're thinking about what makes you unwell, nourishing that. So, for example, when you feel sadness, depression, anxiety, we're nourishing that. We are looking into it, but at the same time, we are thinking about what can balance you, what can be good for your brain, so you can feel the nourishing opposite of that affect. So, we were just talking about news reporting, and anyone who works in helping professions, so people who help others and who experience somehow, uh, who are witnessing traumatic events or listening to traumatic events, they might be affected in their mental health and in their brain. They neuroception, the parts of the brain that is responsible for neuroception, can be affected by secondary trauma. So your hippocampus, your amygdala can be affected by what you're hearing and what you're seeing. And as um, the effect of that can be prolonged fatigue, can be irritability, uh, constant helplessness, um, very negative outlook on life, uh, simmering depression, possibly even flashbacks, avoiding social situations. All of these we can experience in helping professions, in news reporting, in any first responders, and anyone who works in charitable organizations. So what I'm, coming and saying to you guys, do look after yourself and have tools that can help you to process the affect that lingers in your body, that affects your brain, and kind of like gets sticky, sticks to your brain and sticks to your body. And there are things that you can use in everyday life to balance that. So when you're hearing something that it feels like it's very heavy on your nervous system and your body, the easiest things that you can do, stand up when no one sees you and just shake your body. That's the easiest way we can do. Any anything that you can practice when you're thinking about your attention. Just when there is a nice weather, go out. Don't get yourself into overthinking, but just allow yourself to observe the sunshine. Be in the present moment. Because what it does to your brain, it regulates your brain back to soothing. You can soothe yourself this way. There are things that you can do for yourself. Of course, connecting with safe people, connecting with pets, if you like, anything that you can do with your hands, any monotonous activities, painting, any mindfulness drawing, that will help your brain to balance. It's extremely important to have that kind of like those resources that help you to transition from what you're doing for living and then coming back to family situations, life, to have that transition when you're disconnecting and you're nurturing different part of your brain. If we don't do that, we'll we will be facing some sort of mental health crisis or burnouts. We can't just basically help constantly or listening to other people's trauma or reporting on it without looking after ourselves, without looking at our nervous system, neuroception. Um, we can have the best intention in the world, but without looking after that brain, at some point we'll feel very negative about what we're doing. There are other techniques outside of what I've just mentioned, like very healthy lifestyle, uh, any movement that it agreeing with your body. Uh, any sport if people like that, but something that doesn't stress us, that doesn't put any pressure on us, something that feels good. Those techniques help us to regulate. We need to have that sort of resources. And there are also psychotherapeutic techniques that we use to regulate our nervous system. They are called EFT tapping. So this is a self-help tool that we can use to tap different parts of our brain and to help ourselves to adjust neurologically after a traumatic event. There is also a little bit a technique that goes a little bit deeper called eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And if we have time, I can talk a little bit about both because these are things that people can use themselves and they don't have to see a therapist to do it.
Absolutely,
Is that okay?
absolutely, Katya. Yes, please.
So the first one is the tapping. And we just what I love about the technique is that we are reaffirming how we feel, what got into us, and what feels really really bad in our body. And at the same time, we have a balancing statement that says that what we feel is okay. So, for example, we can tap on uh, what I'm observing. It makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. I feel terror in my body, or I really feel bad, and I'm tapping on the side of my hand. And then at the same time, I'm saying, even though I feel really bad, I'm breathing, or I choose to love and accept myself. And we're repeating that in our mind or out loud. Then, after tapping on the side of our hand, we can tap on the inside of our eyebrows, and that is very stimulatory. It stimulates your brain. So I'm saying, even though I feel really, really uncomfortable, even though those emotions dragging me down, I'm breathing. Then I'm moving to the side of the eyes and I'm doing exactly the same. I'm just feeling my emotions and I feel uncomfortable. And I can tell myself this emotion makes me feel really bad and I'm breathing. And then under the eyes, I'm just feeling my body I feel the sensation, and I choose to love and accept myself. Under the nose, I'm allowing myself to feel the emotion. I'm breathing, and I choose to love and accept myself. Under the mouth, even though I feel this terrible emotion, I'm breathing, and I choose to love and accept myself. And under the collarbone, even though I feel this terrible emotion, I choose to love and accept myself. And the last 2 points, under the arm, even though I feel this, I'm breathing. And on top of the head, even though I feel that, I choose to love and accept myself. And that simple techniques repeated after what you're experiencing and what's happening to you rebalances you. It is a bit like an everyday tool that we can use in helping professions, in news reporting, in first response, in whatever is in a situation that can be considered as difficult, traumatic. Any
Right.
questions regarding the person? How does
No,
it feel? Does it feel terrible, or it feels
no,
like
no, no.
something that one can use?
It's very, very, very good and useful also, Kasia. So even you go through a lot of uh, stories from people, your clients, about their trauma. So how do you take care of yourself? You also need the same sort of a precaution and self care, and self love like others who are, as you can say, first responders.
And it's what I'm suggesting to use for news reporters. I'm using myself. So I do practice EFT, the tapping. I also practice tapping in. Sometimes emotions can get into any other parts of the body. Some people feel it in their stomachs, for example. So I would practice tapping on the stomach, almost if you imagine a tree that runs through your gut, and then the crown of the tree is on your chest. So I would tap on the crown or on the trunk of the tree through my gut, because that's where your vagus nerve is as well, which is a very important nerve for our nervous system. And then I would tap on the crown of the tree. It's so important to think about that we do have body. We don't have just the brain that navigates the world. We do have the body, and the body gets ill. So when I'm hearing something that perhaps I wouldn't want to remember, or it might disturb my sleep at night, I would tap and try to find a way. I'm also a trauma therapist, which means that when I see a trauma, I'm trying to tap on it. I'm trying to work with the whole of my body to see some sort of light and hope in that trauma. Basically, almost like a volcano, right? That if volcano erupts, it erupts with lava. And I'm hoping that one might see that on the inside there might be a love, hope, connection with others, connection with the earth, to see and feel the hope and the love. But that's a little bit more work. But in our job, we can what we can do, we can just work with our body so it doesn't feel terrible. And it that we are helpers for reasons, right? We do what we do because we want to do it and we want to have an impact. But if we don't work with our body, we won't be able to go along. We won't be able to do it as long as we want. So we need to have a structure on the inside and on the outside that we can contain that level of trauma.
Right. Uh, Kasia, how do we know that our this whole inner world is full of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors? Is it only our behavior, or is it about others? How do we make sure that we are not impacted by our not only our own thoughts, but not only others' thoughts, but our own thoughts also? How should we look at our inner world, our emotional balance from this perspective?
It's an excellent question. And the answer is it's impossible to do that. It's impossible. We are connected whether we want it or not. And if in our mind we're imagining that we are just this island, that it's not connected to anyone else, that's not true. And people would be very disappointed if they function this way. Very often people do, especially in our Western world, people do function this way, that they think that what they think in their head, it's just there. It's just what it belongs to them, because we feel more disconnected. When I work with clients with other parts of the world, they have got a greater feel of community, and that feel that what I think in my head, it's not mine. I think the great poet Rumi said that we have got, there are visitors in our mind, right? There are visitors in our body, and we need to be able to work with that visitors. And that's why practicing distance, what I feel and what I think, it's just what I feel and what I think. It's not me. Having a core where I am, of almost imagining yourself like you would be a cosmos on the inside. What's on the outside is on the inside. And you are the sun. You are the sun that shines with compassion, kindness towards yourself first and towards others. And the thoughts are just planets or Milky Ways. They are just thoughts, they are just behaviors, they are just emotions. Because this way you don't get caught up in labeling, is that mine? Is that someone else? We don't know. There are thousands of hypotheses, including in psychotherapy. What is yours? What is someone else? Whether it comes from my childhood, whether it comes from a current time in our life. The most important is to be in here and now, to see what's in me, that I can be the sun, and I can see in compassion and in kindness what's on the inside. So if I witness tiredness on the inside, or if I witness falling into depression, or I witness even just irritation, I'm like sunshine, right? I'm just holding it like a flower, and I'm nourishing that, and I'm asking that irritation, what do you need today? What do you need today? Do you need me not to contact that person, or do you want me to have a special protection when I will be going into that situation? What do you need me to do? Because that low planet called irritation is telling us that there is a message that I need to be extra careful here, or I feel fear, and the fear says I need to be extra careful. And even if the fear is on the inside, and it doesn't represent a fear on the outside, it might be a projection from the past. Your inner world still needs to be protected, because there is still fear that then um, impacts your health, impact our cortisol level and everything else. So we can actually hold that in compassion and kindness, that fear or that irritation. We can ask it, do you have a color? Do you have an image? What's there? Just having that curiosity on the inside instead of judgment. People very often have got judgments. Like, how on earth I feel irritated again? Or how on earth I feel that pain again? Instead of that criticizing thought, it's much better to, especially as we get older, much better to have that compassion and gentle thought and say, what are you telling me today? Is it that I need to rest a little bit more in life, or that my body gets older and I need to look after the body better, or perhaps that I need to make few changes in my family situation, or perhaps that I didn't look after myself very well, or that I was abused in the past and now I'm too scared of people and I need to work on that. So these are messages, and we don't know in the end if something comes on the outside, it triggers on the inside. We are they are not we are not as bounded as we like to think, or as we would love to be. We are not bounded as much. That's why it's very important when we are reporting news, or where we work in helping professions, that we can't protect our boundaries. We can't say, I'm so bounded, I won't be feeling that. We will. We're human beings. We will feel that. But that we have enough resources on the inside to be able to clear the space. And we need to do that every day, because we need to turn up for work on the next day. So it's about really clearing the space and having an access to the light on the inside. Whether you are spiritual, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. I always say that the best religion in the world is life, because the life that lives us, if we find a way in compassion and kindness to connect to that life gives us a mission, and that life gives you a mission to report, to go and to go into spaces and to talk to people who need to have a voice. And that life that gives you a mission, that life also look after you. So when you see something traumatic and very difficult, you can come back to that life. And you can even argue, say, you gave me that mission. How on earth I feel so bad when I'm doing it, when I'm helpless? And the answer on the inside might be yes, but you are just a part of what we're doing, right? You might report on something, someone who's going to hear it, and you are a part of the whole that might impact a part of the world that needs help. So being able to process what we hear and not feeling alone is really important when we work with bigger causes, with more traumatic situations, with people who need help. We need to have that kind of almost like a spiritual connection with people who do other good things, and we need to trust that we are not our own. So feeling that light on the inside and being very compassionate to ourselves and being very kind to ourselves, it's really important. No critical voices.
Absolutely. There's much to learn from you, Kasia, about all these things, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to learn more from you, about your balance psychotherapy app also. So, what's the best way for them to do so?
Oh, thank you for asking. So we have got a balanced psychotherapy app that people can access from Google Play or from Apple Store. And we have got some free courses. We have got EFT. We have got a little bit of EMDR. So it's kind of like a pocket-sized therapist. That there are certain things that are recorded, so people can balance on every day, so they can do in the world what they're supposed to be doing, that they can follow their missions. But I don't want that their mental health is pulling them back somewhere, or that it makes them preoccupied, because our life, our world is quite stressful, and it bombards us with stimulants and information. So in order to be focused and to do what we're supposed to do, we need to be able to look after mental health. So there are things like, for example, like some sort of exercises, and there is also group therapy for anxiety, for depression, for trauma, that people can access online if they need help, because people need to know where to look for help if they need it.
Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks so much.